Is this the police? Yes, hello. My name is Thomas Irwin. I live at 5 Willow Lane, a private residential area. I've just returned from a long business trip, and I found someone's belongings in my house. A jacket, a pair of glasses, and a belt. Please, send a unit. It might be a burglar, or maybe there are signs of a break-in. Stay where you are. Don't touch anything. For your safety, step outside the house. A crime scene team is on the way. The officers arrived, and inside Thomas's quiet, dust-covered home, they found children's belongings, a jacket, a pair of glasses, and a belt. Preliminary ID confirmed. They belonged to a local boy, 11 years old, who had vanished a year earlier, disappeared without explanation, and whose name still haunted missing persons lists. There were no signs of forced entry, no footprints, no trace of the boy ever being inside. So how did his belongings get there? The question slithered into the investigators' minds like a snake. Thomas insisted he'd been away for more than a year, traveling overseas, living alone, and nobody had entered the home while he was gone. The thick layer of dust supported his words. Only one set of footprints led across the floor, Thomas's own, no others. And that detail chilled the detectives. The missing child had disappeared under strange circumstances. He left home one morning, heading to school, but never arrived. A traffic camera on his usual route didn't capture him. No witnesses, no clues, just silence. This happened on September 16, 1996, in Fairview, Massachusetts. Detective Ian Mercer, a seasoned officer, later admitted, in all his years, he had never seen a death so horrifying and so senseless. The victim was only 11, a boy whose life had barely begun. What he must have gone through, Mercer would say, it's like staring into an abyss, and the abyss stares back. Authorities chose not to release details to the public. Too disturbing, too many questions, too much horror. But investigators pieced the timeline together, and what they found was nightmarish. At 8:30 a.m., the boy, Paul Simmons, 4th grader, left his home at 1 Willow Lane, walking towards school. At 8:35, he was seen entering the yard of house number 5. He circled around the building, climbed an exterior ladder, and reached the roof. Likely drawn by apples hanging over the shingles, bright, ripe, tempting. On the roof stood a vertical ventilation shaft, a short structure about 3 feet tall. Inside, a narrow rectangular chute, 10 by 14 inches, a 5-meter drop straight down. Inside the house, at floor level, there was a tiny opening, 2 inches by 4, leading into the shaft. Right next to that opening, Paul's belongings were later found. Whether he slipped or climbed intentionally, no one will ever know. His body was discovered in the wall, deep within the shaft, mummified, arms raised upward, mouth open, a silent scream frozen in time. He had tried to remove his clothes, free himself, push anything he could through the tiny floor opening, his jacket, his glasses, his belt, a last desperate signal for help. Inside that narrow space, movement was nearly impossible. Every breath, a battle. Death came from asphyxiation 3 days after he fell. 3 days of hell, one of the officers said quietly. A horrifying, lonely, agonizing death.